Mike Repole has made a comment from a couple days ago in an ESPN article that he has actually kind of every single press conference has actually gone through and said the exact same thing, talking about veterans of the UFL, and it is not setting well with fan bases. Players, I've heard a few players comment on it on social media. It does not look good for the league or essentially the future of the league of what they are going for, at least what we thought spring football was all about and what it was going to be and the UFL. But let's go ahead and dive into that here, and I'll pull that up here on the screen. So, is the UFL heading towards a development league for the NFL? So, this article comes us from ESPN from a couple days ago that kind of got lost in transition, but then he has kind of doubled down on this information, this statement he's made about veteran players being in the UFL. So let me go back to the top of the article where he said he is all in on the UFL as a developmental arm of the NFL, though there is no formal developmental link between the two. But Repole said he doesn't think there needs to be one, and this is why. And this is a quote on the screen here. If they have the drive and the passion and they want to make the NFL and that's their dream, then we want to help them, Repole said. But if they are looking for, hey, where's my next check? Or am I going to play next year? Then this is probably not the league for you. And if you're in this league for 4 to 5 years, you probably shouldn't be here. You should probably go into coaching or do something else. And I think at one of the press conferences between Louisville, Columbus, and Orlando, he also had stated essentially as well that basically in that sense, in that form, about how they should look for other jobs if that's the case. They shouldn't be football players. It's a very weird statement, but when you read into the ESPN article and what it directly states, it kind of leads to what maybe this league or what his vision for the league is to basically have a lot more younger players and not players that have been in there for a very long time. Now, of course, y'all here in the comment section, the fans of this channel, commented on this the other day when Luis Perez re-signed with the Dallas Renegades for the 2026 season, asking like, well, this doesn't make much sense to the league and everything like that. And they're completely right. It doesn't. And it doesn't make much sense in that realm because of that. I mean, while we're talking here, I'll pull up some comments from X that people are talking about and Mike Repole's comments, because a lot of people are not thrilled. Like I said at the opening part of this, people are not thrilled with the comments. Someone said, this is a bad take and disrespects those that have fought for years to prove they belong in the UFL. Anthony Miller, who I've met on numerous occasions in Arlington at Renegades game, absolutely amazing guy. He has a YouTube video I'll link below. You can check his thoughts out on it as well. But it is one of those things that is kind of weird. Like, is this the best option of what they're essentially going for? Are they trying to like kind of get veteran players out of the league and go for the college route, which we've talked about the college allocation process that they've been talking about, of bringing in more college players from local universities within like 100-mile radius of a team to play for that team. Now, that could work, or it could completely blow up in the UFL's faces. It just kind of depends. I know going back to the XFL in 2023 when we had talked to here on the channel and with UFLnewshub.com, when I was with them talking to Anthony Beck right before in 2019, not 2019, 2022, before the 2023 season of the XFL, of how he would rather coach brand new players each year as long as he knows those players are getting the NFL. He wouldn't mind that type of thing. And I think that Anthony Beck is one of those coaches that don't mind it. But as a fan, from a fan perspective, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good to the fact that you have players re-signing right now that have been in spring football from the beginning and have been in the UFL for the last 2 seasons, have been either in the USFL or XFL prior to that. And it's kind of not setting well with a lot of people. And I completely agree with it. It's weird. It would be hard to build up a fan base based on player recognition and things like that if these players are not able to stay around for more than 3 years. Now, I will kind of backtrack this a little bit and let you know how this actually works and how it is a disfavor to a independent league like the UFL. Because in baseball world, we have a team here in Colorado Springs. I've talked about it on the channel before. That's part of the Pioneer Baseball League. They got really popular recently with the Oakland Ballers, who technically, once the A's left Oakland, the Ballers came in and started a team. It's fan ran. It's essentially ownership is a lot of like Too Short, the rapper. Many of like artists and local people from Oakland, California are supporting and funding this team. They just actually won the Pioneer Baseball League championship this past just a couple weeks ago, a couple weeks ago essentially, and it was their second season. So again, going back to this, the Pioneer Baseball League in baseball terms has a term in the contracts that nobody can come into the league and play for more than 3 years. After they've played in the league for 3 years, no matter if it's with 3 different teams, they no longer are eligible to play in the league. Now, there is a little bit of a kind of a way to get around this for 1 season, and that is if you franchise the player, they can play for a 4th season. Could this be something that the UFL is moving towards? Possibly. But what do you do with all the veterans that you currently have? Are you kicking them out after the 2026 season? Are you saying that, hey, Luis Perez, you're no longer welcome in the league, even though you're the Spring King, you're still doing very well. This is your last year, and if you want to stay in the league, you have to become like a quarterback coach, offensive line coach, or something, or not offensive line, but just an offensive coach or something to that extent. But there's a lot of players in this scenario. A lot of players do get up to the NFL level. They just don't stick. Like, whether the NFL team doesn't have enough roster spots. I mean, Mike Repole himself said it's 0.01% chance that most of the players would actually make that role in that team in the NFL and things like that. So they're well aware of it. It's just a weird approach that he is taking in that scenario. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. I know a lot of people on social media have not been happy about it. I'm kind of in the middle of it. I don't think it's a great way to build up fan bases, but at the same time, could it be another way to prevent, and I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but prevent teams like the Birmingham Stallions from continuing to just repeat year after year after year because they keep having like the same roster. I mean, Skip Holtz has done a fabulous job with the Stallions with all different players, different quarterbacks going through the years and things like that. But I don't know. I don't like the comment. It's weird. And I hate being a baseball fan that we can barely ever keep track of the team because they rotate so much in and out, where I fear that the UFL could do this as well, where every year it's a brand new team. You don't know what you're getting, and after a couple years of them being in the league, they're no longer welcome, and I don't really like that. I don't know how the United Football Players Association would chime in on that or what their theory is. It is weird that since Mike took over, we haven't really heard anything regarding like the player association. We know the current deal for contracts is good through 2026. So, could that be where there is now a restructure of contracts after the 2026 season that would limit the amount of time you could spend in the UFL as a player? It could be a page they take out of the Pioneer Baseball League. There's other like soccer leagues out there that do the same thing as well, from my understanding after doing some research. But I know firsthand of that rule and regulation with contracts with the Pioneer Baseball League because I've seen it for the past almost 4.5 years here in Colorado, with the Rocky Mountain Vibes baseball team and them fluctuating through players. You would get the year 3 or that year where they could franchise the player on the 4th year, and they're really good players. They're just not making it to the next step, and then you lose the player and you start out. They had a good team built. They were going to the playoffs. The next year, they had to get rid of everybody because they were all at that 3-year mark in the league. So it's a huge disadvantage, but I can see some give or takes from it that could work, but I don't know if I really like the message that's being presented by Mike. Everything else Mike's done so far is absolutely amazing. This comment did come off a little weird. Anyways, moving on to the next section here, and that, of course, is none other than what we have, if I pull up here, is Eric Wood and Cardell Jones have been established as UFL ambassadors for the league. Now, of course, these are just for the Louisville Kings and the Columbus Aviators. As of right now, at least according to James Larson on ProFootballNewsroom.com, that we'll go over the article in a second here, does not know if the league is going to be doing this for all 8 teams. I don't know why they wouldn't. Common sense would tell you they should. But at this point right now, we do not know what the case is with this, or why maybe Orlando didn't have one, even though Columbus and Louisville did. It would be a great factor for the league to actually get something going like this, to kind of have like an ambassador and things like that for each team to kind of get out there in the markets and things like that. So let's go ahead and talk about the article here by James Larson with ProFootballNewsroom.com. This week, the UFL made some major announcements in Columbus and Louisville. 2 new markets to the league. Included within those moves were the additions of former NFL players Eric Wood and Cardell Jones as official league ambassadors for their respective teams. Offensive lineman Eric Wood, with the Louisville Kings. Eric Wood, formerly a standout at the University of Louisville, will be representing the Louisville Kings. He was present at the event on Wednesday and played a role in bringing the Kings to Louisville, meeting with Russ Brandon and other UFL executives leading up to the announcement. For Russ Brandon and Eric Wood, this is a unique reunion. Wood was a former first-round NFL draft pick with the Buffalo Bills when Brandon was the president of the organization. Eric earned a Pro Bowl appearance during his 9-year NFL career. And he basically had stated what the UFL means and the redefining prospects of it and everything. But he goes on to essentially say he would play a pivotal role in the UFL, utilizing his network skills to grow the league in a city that means a lot to him. With his background as an NFL player and a Louisville star, Eric should be able to assist in attracting quality players to the Kings roster, serving the league and the team with multiple assets. He says, "I appreciate the UFL taking a risk to bring this team to this city. I don't know that it's a huge risk, though." He says, when you look at this market and what we will do to support our teams, this team will be successful on and off the field. There will be community events that will make a community impact here, Eric Wood. Wood has experience in media relations as well. He was hired by The Athletic for a time and was also featured on Buffalo Bills radio network. Then we move on to quarterback Cardell Jones with the Columbus Aviators. For the Columbus Aviators, a familiar face will be taking over as team ambassador. Cardell Jones, a national champion with the Ohio State Buckeyes, was at Thursday's event promoting the team ready to make pro football in Columbus a real thing. The Bills' connections run deep in the UFL. Cardell Jones, coming out of college, was the fourth-round draft pick by the Bills during Russ Brandon era. He also has spring football ties as he was the DC Defenders starting quarterback, as we all know, during the 2020 XFL season, cut short due to COVID-19. As for what Cardell will be actually doing with the team, it's something that he still needs to figure out with the league. He says, I'm extremely excited about this opportunity. Team ambassador. I have no clue what that means yet. We'll figure it out as we go, but new city, new opportunity, looking forward to working with everybody in the front office or wherever my role may be. Cardell Jones. Cardell Jones has notably participated in behind-the-scenes work with Ohio State athletes, revolving NIL deals, or revolving around NIL deals. He believes that this work could be a piece to the puzzle regarding what he does with the UFL in the near future. James Larson's final thoughts on this was, with the recent statements made by Mike Repole regarding the implementation of a college allocation process for free agents in 2026, it opens the door for guys like Eric Wood and Cardell Jones to help recruit local players to their organizations. With the ties they have to these cities, sports teams, and communities, bringing in local team ambassadors for marketing purposes is a strong move by Repole and this league. It remains unclear, as I was talking about earlier, if other cities around the UFL will also hire team ambassadors. Right now, Louisville and Columbus are the two franchises who feature this job title. What are your thoughts, as James puts in his article, what are your thoughts on this? Because I do think this is a very interesting perspective when it comes to the league and having these team ambassadors. I really think this is a great idea for the league, and I do think that they should look into the other 6 markets to doing the same thing. Look for, in DC, someone that is very famous and popular with the Washington Commanders or Redskins, depending what franchise or what era of the team they go with. Then, of course, you have St. Louis. It may be a touchy subject, but you could also get someone from the St. Louis Rams, Dallas, obviously the Cowboys, Houston. You could go either the route of the Houston Oilers organization or the Houston Texans, being a newer one, but still could do that. There's just different scenarios there that you could really kind of focus on getting someone from that area. Now, maybe because of the fact that Orlando does not have an NFL team, doesn't have like someone massive right off the bat, maybe that's why they didn't have anybody. Maybe Mike Repole is that team's a team ambassador, even though he's a co-owner, because he is so well known and essentially knows the Orlando market very well of why they're there. Or maybe Danny Garcia is the team ambassador. Who knows what they could do? But I think this is a great step in the right direction for the league and heading to that point where it just makes total sense for the league to have these team ambassadors and everything like that. But moving on, one final thing I wanted to touch base on was comments that Mike Repole made directly to James Larson in an interview that James Larson posted on his X account. That'll be in the description as well, basically stating of what the kind of business goals were for the UFL heading into 2026 for attendance. And Mike Repole said what he thought was best was in 2026, he would love to have an average of 10,000 per game. I obviously assume for 7 out of the 8 markets. You definitely don't want St. Louis Battlehawks being 10,000 average attendance, but 7 out of the 8 markets being 10,000. Then in 2027 for the next season, they want 20,000, or no, sorry, 15,000. And then after that, for the third, 20. Now, I think 20 is in 3 seasons is kind of like a crazy thought process, but I do think it's doable. A lot of people are saying it's kind of an over, like, that's being like very like uh overthinking, over like expectations and stuff like that. And quite frankly, they should be able to do that. 10, 15, and 20. Like, the league should be successfully running in 3 years. When we get to the 2028 season, you should be able to pull 20,000 per game in those markets that can fill 20,000. Now, there's some stadiums they are currently at that still can only get 15, 16, 17,000. But if you're filling those stadiums, selling them out, and then moving on to essentially markets, new markets that you're heading into at that point, you can start resetting those figures of a new market is 10,000 to start, 20 or 15 the next, 20, and that's the range that you go step by step to really start activating these new areas. And I mean, even in that ESPN article and other articles, Mike Repole has said in 10 years, in 2035, that they want the league to be at 16 teams. And we kind of talked about that yesterday in the future of the UFL. But again, let me know what you think about everything here. Thanks again to our channel member, Steven Johnson. And make sure you can become a member too for 99 cents a month, supporting the channel right below in under this video. Make sure, if you're not so already, 75% of you that watch the video here on YouTube are not subscribed. You may not even know you're not subscribed to the channel. Hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's get to 1,000 subscribers, and let's give away season tickets for the 2026 season. 2 of them paid in full for you and someone to attend a UFL or UFL games in 2026. So we'll see you back here on the flip side. Have a great one, everyone.